It's time now for Teen Christian Ministries Live with your hosts, Larry Roy and Leslie Lamb. Chat lines are open at tcmlive.com by clicking on the Live Join Now button. TCM Live addresses issues that teens face daily, providing a safe place to talk it out and find answers to their questions. Larry and Leslie are in the studio. Let's join them now for TCM Live.
Hello, guys, and welcome to another edition of TCM Live. I am your host, Pastor Larry Roy, and joining me as usual is the most awesome Leslie Lamb.
I don't know about awesome, but I'm here.
Leslie, how are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Good. I hope you guys are doing great out there. We just want to remind you real quick that if you're tuned in on our website, tcmlive.com, that there are many different things that you can check out on that website. We've got a community forums page that you can go to that's got a whole list of different topics that you can comment on. A place that you can go to where you can be helped and you can help others. Also, you can send us an email. We love getting email correspondence. You can send us an email at tcmlive@gmail.com. You can also follow us on Twitter. You can like us on Facebook. And of course, you can send us good old-fashioned snail mail if you so desire.
Hey, that would be awesome.
Yeah, and we'll be putting that address up on our website pretty soon. So we want to get some snail mail from you guys as well. So we're going to pray real quick, and then we're going to dive into today's topic.
Okay.
You want to pray for us?
I sure will.
Thank you.
Daddy God, we just love you so much, and I thank you for this opportunity, Lord. I just pray that as we speak, Lord, that you would just speak to those who are listening. I pray that your will be done. I pray that you would just wrap them up in your arms of grace and love tonight, God, and they would know what we know, and that is that we are never alone in you, God. We ask these things in your name. Amen.
Amen. All right. You know, those of you that may not know this, we know it. Some of you know it out there. But we have what we call live chat that goes on. It starts at 8 o'clock Central. For those of you that are maybe Pacific time and Mountain time and alternate universe time, all that other stuff.
Exactly.
So you want to tune in to tcmlive.com at 8 o'clock for live chat. And we continue this on through the program. If you look down to your right, you'll see that little chat box going on there. We also have a little button over there that says live prayer. If you want to pop into another screen, you have a prayer request, you have something that you really want to talk about, but you don't want to do it in the public there in the little chat room, be sure to click on that button and a moderator will be right there ready to assist you.
Absolutely.
So, okay, Leslie, what are we talking about tonight?
Tonight we are talking about bullying.
Bullying.
Yes.
I'll tell you, that's one of those things. I was talking to someone the other day about this. It's one of those things that some people think is no big deal.
Yeah.
You know, there are people that I've heard say that media, people like that, are really just sort of jumping on the bandwagon because it's something that's popular to be against now.
Right.
But, you know, I really have to disagree with that because of the technological advancements, things like that, many different considerations, both parents having to work outside of the home, children not being able to be raised by their parents, by other people. There's so many different factors that go into bullying.
Yeah.
You've got some statistics, right?
Yeah, there's lots of statistics out there. But some statistics say that 66% of youth, that would be you guys, are teased at least once a month, and nearly 1/3 of youth are bullied at least once a month.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a lot of bullying going on. 6 out of 10 American teens witness bullying at least once a day. If you live in my house, you witness it multiple times a day. For children in grades 6 through 10, which is most of you, nearly 1 in 6, that's 3.2 million, are victims of bullying each year. And that 3.7 million are bullies.
Wow.
See, you know, I was talking about this with a guy at the coffee shop today. It is such a vicious cycle. Yeah. Those who are bullied will turn around and bully others. I don't know what the twist is in that, but it really is a vicious cycle. And I was telling him that I remember whenever I was a teenager, there was a girl who bullied me constantly, and I always felt like such a scrub. Like, she just made me feel like a piece of crap, really. And I really felt in my heart, I was like, you know what? I don't ever want anyone to feel like this. Like, this really sucks. I don't ever want anybody to look at I don't ever want to look at anybody and make them feel belittled or not worth anything over things that they really can't control.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of people, though, the problem there is what really causes that cycle to continue is most people don't look at it the same way as you. I think that they try to repress that. They try to shove it down inside of them. They're embarrassed. They're trying to uphold what little bit of dignity and confidence that they have.
Yeah.
And so as time goes on, what they decide to do is, without even really consciously realizing it, some of you out there know what I'm talking about, people that have been bullied will step up and bully because it's what they know, first of all. They've been on the brunt end of it, and it gives them a false sense of power and security because they've been so pushed down, so depressed, so oppressed and repressed, all those presses, you know,
they're pressed.
Yeah, they're pressed. And so they really decide to take the route of the aggressor because it gives them a false sense of security and a false sense of purpose.
Well, and I think that's really true because a lot of and that's the clue there, insecurities. Insecurities make us compare. You know, when we feel like we're compared to someone else, then we can feel better about ourselves. Like, you know, maybe I don't have the best hygiene. I brush my teeth once a day, but I don't know. But then somebody I know only brushes theirs once a week. Well, then I can say I have extraordinary hygiene because I brush mine once a day, and so only brushes theirs once a week. It's this really bad habit that we have of comparing ourselves to another to make us feel better about our own securities and our own flaws than someone else would feel. And I think that that's really important for us to recognize, but I also think in line of that, before we get into more statistics and some more things that they're saying, it's really important for us to know, just like we've been talking about the last two shows before we had the show on with Terry, is that the way God sees us and the way man sees us are completely different.
Yeah.
And the beauty of God, because his ways are higher than our ways, is that he does not compare us to one another. He doesn't look at me and say, Leslie, I wish you were more like Larry. He's funnier. He does impersonations. He has better eye color. I mean, he doesn't compare us like that.
Yeah, and he doesn't look at me and go,
You know what you need to do, Larry? You need to stop doing all those silly impersonations. You need to be more like Leslie. She's very calm and considerate. She listens to people and doesn't interrupt them.
Yeah.
Exactly. See, but God's not doing that, lucky for us.
No.
And that's not your voice, lucky for us. But anyway, comparison is the biggest deal, I think, in bullying. And some other statistics that we found were that 90%, this is a huge percentage, of 4th through 8th graders report being victims of bullying. I have 2 daughters, and both of my daughters have been victims of bullying. Both of them. That's 100% statistic in our house.
In your house.
That's insane.
Yes.
You know, and I'm sure you have 3 boys, and I'm sure that they could tell you at some point or another they experienced that kind of bullying.
Yeah, usually it's at the hands of their 5-year-old brother. But yes.
It does happen in the home as well.
And one of the big things, too, is, you know, bullying takes on many different forms.
Yeah.
But like one thing that we talked about before the program, we were talking about the fact that it's not like physical abuse. Even though physical abuse will occur a lot of times, of course, in bullying, it's not like physical abuse as far as with bullying, it mainly hurts you on the inside. It tears down your self-confidence. It negatively affects your emotions. It also affects your body.
Yeah.
You know, people who are bullied tend to sometimes stop eating or overeat. They tend to withdraw from things that they used to love.
Right.
And so a lot of people that have good intentions, they tend to lose patience sometimes because there's no physical signs really that you would notice. Sort of like if someone grabbed you and left bruises all over your arms, or if you had a broken arm, or
What are you saying?
Yeah.
I've got some bruises,
Yeah, but
I wasn't bullied. I
you do
promise.
pretty mean laundry, though. I've seen your laundry fight back.
Yeah, it does.
It's rough. But, you know, it's not something that you can see from the outside. It's on the inside. And so a lot of times people really do not know how to handle that.
Yeah.
And when you combine, like we were talking about technology, when you combine technology with that, you know, cyberbullying is really huge now. And I'd like to caution you out there watching that this isn't just a bandwagon that everyone is jumping on. on, because you have to realize, take for instance how much the average person is on Facebook, on Twitter, checking their email, doing all of these things online from their phones, from their tablets, from their laptops.
Statistics say 7 hours a day we spend online. And I would venture to say, I think those statistics were made a couple of years ago. So I would venture to say with the advent of smartphones and that kind of stuff, that number has jumped at least 2 hours.
Yeah, so the ability for people to cyberbully is literally 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Yeah, exactly.
And once you get junior high kids, or you get high schoolers, not all of them, and once you get some of them honed in on someone to pick on, they're going to do it.
Yeah.
And they're going to do it in any way they possibly can, especially if the rumor's bad enough, or if the person looks weird enough, or they're into a different hobby, or they're shy. Maybe they're like me. I was shy and I was a little overweight, and I got picked on a lot because of that, because of the clothes that I wore, things like that.
Yeah.
And it was bad in my time. That was before the internet, before Al Gore invented the internet. Yes, there was such a time. And some of us will get that, but the teenagers are like, what are you talking about? Google it. Go to Snopes.com. They'll tell you about it. But, before the internet was invented, it wasn't nearly as bad now, because you could escape from it. You could go home, or go home. Pretty much to me, it was go home.
Right.
But, it happened at school. And people wouldn't necessarily call your house.
Right.
But now, because of technology, it has just gone crazy. And there are a couple of different ways that we didn't mention as far as cyberbullying that someone can be bullied.
Well, we talked about there's physical bullying, which we talked about was literal bruising you up.
Yeah.
And there's verbal bullying, which is making comments about your clothes and judging you for your character and things like that. And there's indirect bullying, which the cyberbullying would fall under that. Emails, text messages, especially now, and with being able to Photoshop, somebody can take a picture of you at church, and before you know it, you're sitting,
on a beach somewhere.
On a beach somewhere.
Yeah, wearing a smile.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, it just doesn't, the ability to bully people is endless. And one thing that you brought up, which is a really good point, we're talking about bullying, and some of you are like, well, I'm out of school now, but that doesn't end it. See, when we were in school, that girl that used to pester me, at the end of the school year, I could say goodbye and good riddance. I knew I at least had 3 months of sanity, But these days, y'all don't have that anymore, because Mean Girl is on Facebook, and she's talking trash about you when she doesn't even see you. She's making stuff up because she has nothing better to do. And this is the bad thing. Boredom begets, that's a big word for, brings about drama.
Yeah.
And you know it. So really, what we want to do tonight and talk to you guys about with bullying, especially, we want to spotlight cyberbullying, because this is where this is going to happen, and it's going to happen rapidly and a lot this summer, because people are going to get bored, they're going to start talking smack, and this is where it happens. So we have a couple of things that we want to tell you about in order to be smart and to try to stop what you can about cyberbullying.
Yeah. One of the biggest things that you can do is to write it down. Mm-hmm. Write it down on paper, somewhere that you can't be in danger of hitting send.
Right.
You can see it, and you can really decide whether you want to keep prolonging your agony.
Yeah.
Or whether you want to end it right there. You get out what you were going to say on paper. It makes me feel better as a writer. And then I take that right there. And because I'm not what I wrote down, I'm not what they're calling me, I'm not who they're pointing at, I take that and I crumple it up. And I throw it away. Because I'm not that person. I don't use those words. I'm not those labels.
Yeah.
And the thing is, it's not just going to magically go away. But it's a process.
Right.
There's steps that you have to go through, and you need support around you.
Right.
You need to be able to step up and to tell people, because if you hear something long enough, it's a fact.
Yeah.
Look throughout history. You can see this in many nations that have had dictators and such. If someone or a group of people, if they hear things long enough and they hear them screamed at them loud enough, they will begin to believe those things as truth.
Yeah. And the thing is, you need to tell somebody. It's a lot easier, I realize, to delete that message or to, whatever. But the thing is, if you delete it, then there's no proof that you were mistreated. And if that escalates and gets worse, you have no history that you can refer to say, you know what, this isn't the first time he or she did this. They did this here and they did this here. And then they used my words in this way and they copied and pasted them and they made it sound like I said this when really I said this. You don't have anything to fall back on. And if it gets ugly, which it has gotten ugly before, I am sorry to say that I have seen the ugly of it. But you need to make sure that you're not just deleting these messages. If they truly offend you, if they truly stab you to the core, you need to copy them down, you need to show somebody, and you need to save them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And some of you out there, you're like, okay, well, I haven't heard any scripture to back this up.
Oh, there's tons.
Yeah, there's tons. One of them is Leviticus 19:18. And this is directed towards those who are tempted
to pick
on others. I like the notes here.
Sorry. In my notes, I had a typo and I wrote puck instead of pick. But
she's got a thing for hockey. But it says this, Leviticus 19:18 says, do not take revenge on anyone or continue to hate them, but love your neighbor as yourself. I am the Lord. That is one of the hardest things to do in the world. That's one of the hardest things in the Christian faith. We believers, man, we will preach it all day long. It's so easy to say, especially when things are going good. But to be tempted to take revenge on someone is, man, there's a reason it's called temptation. There's a reason why they say that sin appears to be so sweet.
Right, exactly.
And it's one of the hardest things in the world to love your neighbor as yourself, especially when you don't like your neighbor.
Right.
And so it's important for you guys, though, to remember, if you're going to live by the Word, if you're going to live by the Bible, then you have to live by every word.
Right.
You have to realize that God did put that inside of you.
Yeah.
You know, and it talks about that being a temptation. You know, Christ said that we will have a back door. He will provide a back door for us to get out of every temptation that we face.
Yeah.
So this is another one of those temptations that God is saying, look, I'm giving you an out right now.
Yeah.
All you got to do is take it. Do the right thing. I know it's hard, guys. And in this world, the right thing doesn't always seem like the right thing.
It's really hard, especially when you feel like you've been wrongly accused or wrongly convicted. Your natural instinct is to prove yourself and to fight for yourself. But sometimes that's not the best way to go.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just best to let it go. And in that same vein, you need to watch what you're posting. You know, there's a lot of leeway that we have with the social media. You know, I can say things on there that I don't know that I would say to someone's face.
Yeah.
Because it's just a lot easier when you're not looking at them and you don't have to see their reaction to just type, you know. But if you think about it, and I would encourage you to do this, let this be your challenge. While you're posting, think about how you would say it if you were talking to them.
Yeah.
And say it like that. You know, text can be so easily misunderstood. We have talked about this before. You don't know what tone somebody's using. You don't know if they're being sarcastic or if they're being serious. Make sure that you use your words wisely.
Yeah. I'll tell you what I do. A little trick that I use on that is when I get upset or I get mad, I'm going to text someone or a Facebook message. I pretend that I'm messaging or texting a group of naked clowns.
No.
I mean, because think about it. You can't get mad at naked clowns.
Some people could be very scared and they would not post at all, which would once again be a good challenge for them.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, there are parents out here that are watching this. There are youth pastors. There's other concerned folks that are watching this broadcast. Some of them may be going, you know, what do we do as parents? You know, what do we do as adults? How do we recognize these things? What do we look for?
Right.
And what do we do on our end to make a difference?
Right.
You know, there are a couple of things that you can do. One of them here is you can look, parents, teachers, youth workers, pay attention to your teens.
Yes.
You can watch their lives and look for signs like, you know, people who are bullied have a higher risk of depression, anxiety, increased feelings of sadness and loneliness, changes in sleep and eating patterns, loss of interest in activities. Some of them, if it's more severe, can have increased thoughts of suicide, and this could even keep going. It could persist into adulthood. In one study, adults who recalled being bullied in youth were 3 times more likely to have suicidal thoughts or inclinations.
Yeah.
They're more likely to have health complaints. In one study, being bullied was associated with physical health, with someone's physical health status 3 years later. So you see, bullying affects the whole person.
Yeah.
And we as parents, we as adults, we have a responsibility to watch out for our children. We have a responsibility to watch out for those who look up to us as mentors.
Yeah.
And I know it's difficult. I know it's very hard, but the biggest thing we need to remember as parents, most especially, we're to be their parents before we are there to be their friends.
Exactly. And we have said that before. And the important thing is, we've talked about parental involvement. Kids, watch your privacy settings. You guys are far more advanced in how to do all that stuff than probably we are.
Yeah.
You know how to set your accounts so that other people can't get on there and post things on your wall that you don't want them to, and that everything doesn't have to be made public. We're going to have a show on human trafficking in a few weeks, and let me tell you what, the more public you are about who you are, your life, what you look like, the more easily you are made a target for those who are looking to destroy you.
Yeah, you see, it's like we've said a million times on this show, everything is connected together. In this world, everything is connected together in some form or fashion. If someone is bullied, well, they all of a sudden have this suave guy that comes in, or this lady comes in, and they're really nice. They make them feel like they're $1 million. Before they know it, they're in the sex trafficking industry.
I mean, you're laughing and saying, oh, that's not true. Really? There are testimonies. That is true. That is true. I've heard a personal testimony of a young girl who, and the crazy thing was, she wasn't really being bullied and she wasn't really being mistreated, but this person convinced her to such a point that she was being mistreated and she was being bullied and that he was her only friend, that it only took a matter of months and he had developed a relationship with her that had her convinced that if she just ran away with him, he would take care of her. Oh, and he was going to take care of her, but luckily for the IRS and the feds, they were able to, not IRS.
The IRS.
The feds and the persistence of her father, they were able to get her back.
Yeah.
But it's a true situation that's really happening.
Yeah. Well, in closing here, we want to remind you of a few things. The first thing is this, that in bullying, when you're dealing with the issue of bullying, remember that it really does, like we just said, it branches out into so many other things and it affects so many other parts of people's lives.
Yeah.
So we want to encourage you that if you've been bullied out there, speak out.
Yes.
Speak out.
Speak out.
Let people know what's happened to you. You don't have to be a victim, and you don't
Yes.
have to play the victim.
Yes.
But you do need to get it out. You need to speak out of what's happened so that you can begin to heal, and so that you can reach out to other people as well.
Yes.
To be able to help them walk down this road.
One of my favorite verses as the body of Christ is Ephesians 4:29, which is the verse that Building 429, the Christian group, actually is founded on. And it says this, encourage one another. Well, okay, I'm going to read it out of a different version because I kind of liked this one. Do not use harmful words, but only helpful words, the kind that build others up or encourage and provide what is needed so that what you say will do good to those around you.
Yeah. One of the ones that goes along with that, for me anyway, is Romans 12:19 through 20. And it says, don't hit back. This is like the opposite end of that, so to speak.
Right.
Because the Ephesians is talking about don't use harmful words. This one's saying if you're the victim of something like that,
Right.
if you've been hurt like that, don't hit back. Discover beauty in everyone. If you've got it in you, get along with everyone. Don't insist on getting even. That's not for you to do.
Yeah.
I'll do the judging, says God. I'll take care of it.
Yes.
And He will.
Yes.
He will take care of it. That doesn't mean you just sit on your hands and you feel helpless.
Yes.
You go through the steps that we talked about. Reach out to people. Go to a teacher. Go to a youth pastor. Go to your parent. Go to those people who care. Not
Go
those
to a
people.
camp counselor,
Yeah.
because camp is one of those places where this can happen. Even Christian camps, it's really sad, but for whatever reason, when kids get together, cliques form and words go and people can start treating people like jerks.
Yeah, so this is a perfect opportunity to take these things into the camp season.
Exactly.
And to be able to do some wonderful things, for you to be able to take a stand for yourself, for your family, for the community of believers that you're a part of, if you're part of a church. You know, and we close with this right here. It's in Romans, and it is Romans 12:18. And it says, if possible, so far as it depends on you, live peaceably with all.
Yeah.
It's important for us to remember that as the body of Christ, we need to try, as far as it depends on us within ourselves,
Right.
to try to live peacefully with people. And let's explain it, because a lot of you just went, oh, I'm done for the night. Ooh, they've read too many scriptures, you know, they're fried. But here's the thing that you do, man. Within yourself, everything that you're capable of, live with peace. If that means totally staying away from someone and ignoring their comments, do it. Just do it. Because those friends around you that are trying to build you up in the wrong way, trying to get you to lash out to the people around you, the people that are hurting you, they're increasing drama. They're building drama.
Yeah.
And you don't need that. You're already going through enough by being bullied.
Yeah.
And those of you that bully, most likely, according to many statistics, of course, it's because you were a victim of it. Maybe even you were a victim of it at home.
Right.
Here's the thing that we want you to see on that too. Do you remember the pain and the sorrow that you felt? Do you remember how you felt like no one was there for you when it was happening to you? Well, I want you to take that person or those people that you're doing this to, and I want you to picture yourself in their shoes. Because I know you're saying, well, no one was there for me, so I'm not going to be there for anyone else. Do you realize that the person who bullied you said the same thing? So in what you're doing, you have actually become, to a certain extent, that which you most despise. Do not let the person who bullied you or is bullying you, do not let that person turn you in to them. Do not let that happen.
Yeah.
You can turn around. You can end that vicious cycle right now.
Yeah.
If you're still in live chat, please keep chatting. If you need to, hit that live prayer button. We have moderators standing by that will pray for you privately. We're there to address your needs. Be sure to go over to our community forums page where you can look under our issues and find the stuff that's going on in your life, and you can leave a comment to help encourage people, or you can log in over there and you can ask some questions. You can seek help over there. You can go to our resources page where we have many, many different resources, many different ministries and organizations that you can reach out to help you in your times of need.
Absolutely.
Leslie, any closing thoughts?
I think we've nailed them all. Just my mind is just going, you know. I hope that you guys have understood, and you know that we're just looking out for you. And we want you to have the best life possible. And we know from experience that that best life includes a life of peace. And that is only possible through Jesus Christ, the Prince of Peace.
Yes.
So tonight we leave you with peace, and to know that you are not alone. And whatever it is that you're facing and whatever it is that they are saying about you, God alone knows who you are. And He chose you before the beginning of time to be just that. Be encouraged. We love you. Good night.
Love you guys. Have a good night.